What's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to episode 16 of the Daily Dose podcast. This podcast is sponsored by Jackpack LLC, all organically grown cannabis right here in Albuquerque, New Mexico, as well as 1GM Construction for all your roofing and construction needs in Albuquerque and surrounding areas. Tap in with them, guys. If anybody else would like to sponsor the podcast, reach out to me and we'll get it going. Happy Monday, guys. We got a lot to go over today. Some great fights from the weekend, some current topics, some upcoming news for the channel. Let's get right into it. I got some upcoming interviews in the next couple weeks, some pretty big ones. A BKFC current champion, a guy on the regional scene that trains with a lot of big UFC fighters. He's fighting for a title. A really big entrepreneur that a lot of people will know. Many more to come. Got a lot of interviews coming. Keep supporting, guys. So Saturday night, we had Joaquin Buckley versus Kamaru Usman. Now, obviously, I was wrong on my pick. I thought Usman, Father of Time, was getting him. And, you know what I mean? I thought Buckley was going to be able to get him. That wasn't the case. Let's go over some other fights on the card first. This was easily one of the best fights of the year. It was a free card. It was action-packed. You know, the co-main and the main could have been a little better, but overall, really good card. So, Philip Rowe, he was, in my opinion, down 2 rounds. He was, doing okay on the feet, struggling with the grappling exchanges. Came out in the 3rd round, put it on Buddy, ended up stopping him. That was a beautiful performance. Ricky Simone, I mean, that guy is just a beast. And what a lot of people don't realize is he beat Merab. So, very interesting. He's always a tough vet. He's always there to fight. Great cardio. Be interesting to see. I don't think he's ranked that high, but he has beat him before. Malcolm Wellmaker, as I said, guys, beautiful KO over Chris Monquinho. I think that Chris guy is just one of those guys that's a tough fighter. He could be a test for some, but, overall, I think that's what happens when he fights people. Either he gets pieced up like Sean O'Malley did to him, or he gets knocked out. Just is what it is. Michael Chiesa, Court McGee. Now, this had a lot of hype. Was one of the few boring fights on the card. They were really filling each other out a lot, and then just the exchanges weren't that explosive. Both guys are kind of older in their career. It's going to happen, so it was still a decently entertaining fight, but, compared to the rest of the card. Now, Paul Craig and Rodolfo Bellato were the headliner for the prelims. And, Paul Craig was doing pretty well, controlling the fight, getting the better of the exchanges. And with just a few seconds left in the fight, there was about 7 seconds left. They were on the ground. He was on his back. He did an up kick. Now, originally, if you watch it, boom, up kick lands, and it looks like he knocked the guy out. The guy kind of hits his back, crawls to the cage, acts like he's attacking the ref, like he doesn't know what's going on. I saw another angle of it, and when it first happens, he looks over at the ref, like pretty obvious, and then all of a sudden he drops, so that's a tough one. You'll have to go see the different angles, and I'll let you decide. But definitely some controversy. So basically, if you don't know, when there's a legal blow like that, and it's already pretty much the whole fight's over, they still go to the scorecards. So Paul Craig, he should have won on the scorecards, but as I'm reading here, they gave him a no contest. So that was a weird one. Alonzo Menefield had a tough fight. He got the decision, pretty grind out fight, nothing crazy. Now, Manzar Abdul Malik versus Cody Brundage. This was an interesting one. So the Abdul Malik, he threw a flying knee and then TKO'd Cody initially is what it looked like. When you slow down and watch the replay, the knee didn't land. As they come forward, they collide and headbutt, and that's what sent Cody to the ground. And then he started, with the ground and pound. So that was a weird one. He still got a technical decision. I'm not sure how. He was up on the cards, but that was definitely a weird one. Now we had Cody Garbrandt and Renoni Barcelos. Man, at one time, Cody Garbrandt was that guy. Huge fan of him. He was killing it. Obviously, he's had, a lot of skids as of lately. And just to see that fight, people got to realize he was having a tough fight where he almost got finished a few times, and he was grinding it out with a 38-year-old non-ranked guy. So, unfortunately, I just don't think Cody will ever be able to be back on that level. He's never going to get a title. If they still want to kind of give him tests and stuff like that, I'm not sure what they're going to do. He's back on a 2-fight skid. it'd be interesting to see. I think unless he has a really, really good relationship with the UFC, it's probably time to let him go. Next fight, you had Edmund Shabazian and Andre Petroski. That was a good fight. Edmund looked good. I mean, both of them looked pretty good overall. He got the unanimous decision. Nothing too crazy. Then you had Rose Namajunas and Miranda Maverick. Now, I thought Miranda would pull it off. The first round was pretty kind of feel it out, kind of boring. Second round, Rose almost had a submission. Miranda reversed it. Then she almost had a submission. It was a pretty crazy exchange. And then the third round, it just seemed like she gassed out or she didn't do anything. Rose definitely took over in the third round and ultimately won the fight. Now, in the main event, Kamaru Usman versus Joaquin Buckley. I felt like coming off a long layoff, being older in his career and just older in general, I thought Buckley was going to get him. Now, shout outs to Kamaru. He did his thing. That's awesome. Couple things on Buckley that was very weird. First of all, in between rounds, I didn't see his corner give him one solid piece of advice to get off his back. You know, like, guys, that's obviously the main issue. You should give him some advice so he can get off his back, because other than that, he's going to be in for a long night like we saw. So, secondly, Buckley had a terrible game plan. I don't know if he just expected like Kamaru to just lay down or whatever, but how could you not throw stuff down the middle, kicks, teeps, body shots, jab to the body, whatever. He never once put up any offense to try and deter Kamaru from getting the takedown. And it also looked like he didn't even show up to wrestling practice for the whole camp, you know. I don't know how you couldn't practice being on your back. Every time he was on his back, he either brought Kamaru in and held him, blocked his legs, like minimal, did really nothing to get off his back. Just kind of accepting position. So it's like, man, are you serious? You really didn't practice or expect that? He never tried to bridge, put his feet on the hip, shrimp out, he just held on and Kamaru was laying and praying. So definitely weird on Buckley. I felt like he was very unprepared. I heard he just trains with kind of a small team. They didn't give him any good advice, any good game plan. And that's what's going to happen against a tough vet. Now, Kamaru, I still don't see him being champ again. I mean, it was a good performance. He still kind of lays in praise. Yes, he cut Buckley in the first round. But overall, if you look at his control time, for him controlling so much and not to have submissions or TKOs, he's just holding position, which, I mean, that's fine. I respect your wrestling. But the UFC is an entertainment industry, and people just don't want to see that. That was one of the few fights that was getting booed. That fight, Chiesa, because the rest of the fights were so action-packed. So definitely an interesting one. I was wrong, though. I thought Kamaru was going to lose the fight. So shout-outs to Kamaru. We must have forgot. My bad. Let's see. So this weekend coming up on Saturday, we're supposed to have Hill versus Roundtree. Now, supposedly, we'll still go over the card and give our picks and stuff, but supposedly Jamal Hill is refusing to fly to that side of the world with everything going on. So obviously, if he doesn't fly over there, the fight's not going to happen. I actually had ran into him. It was the first time I ever met him in person out in Vegas. And he was a cool guy. Told him I was pumped for the fight. I would love to see him out there. But if he doesn't show up, for all the trash he talks and, how much he says he's going to do and this and that, come on, man. I don't think the UFC would send you guys over there if they thought you were in danger. So you should definitely get over there and give us that fight that we want to see. Him and Roundtree, man, that should be a banger. I mean, obviously Khalil's been on fire as of late. Really good style. Let's see who else we got on here. On the prelims, nothing crazy. Nothing's really going to blow your hair back. Yeah, I mean, this is kind of one of those boring cards. A lot of these fighters might be catering to that side of the world. It's in, Saudi Arabia, something like that. So, the main event is Jamal Hill and Khalil Roundtree. That's tough. I think I'd take Khalil Roundtree. Just technically better ever since he moved to Thailand. He's a beast. So I'm going to take Khalil Roundtree by maybe second or third round stoppage. Rafael Fiziev and Ignacio Baja Mendez. Wow, that is a banger. I'm taking the young buck, Ignacio Baja Mendez, but that should be a really good fight. Curtis Blades is on there. I'll take him just, based off who he is and his style. The rest of them, I don't really recognize too many of them, and I'm, pretty big. So it seems like a lot of these names I can't really pronounce. Kamaru Usman's older brother's on there, Muhammad. So it should be a decent card, hopefully, but again, this is one of those fight nights that seems pretty weak, especially compared to these past ones. But we'll see what happens. If Jamal Hill gets over there, if not, I don't think the UFC would be too happy. So supposedly from a few reliable sources, I've heard that Patchy Mix had a pretty bad injury in that UFC 316 fight. Not taking anything away from Mario Bautista. I'll be curious to see if Patchy comes out and talks about it himself. That definitely changes stuff, though. Injuries are a part of the sport. When you agree and you sign on the dotted line knowing you have an injury, there's no excuse. I'm not saying, but I thought he looked really flat. I wasn't sure if it was maybe the UFC jitters or what have it, but I'll be curious to see if he comes out and addresses it. Now, Corey Sandhagen's been on some podcasts recently saying that he made $2 million on OnlyFans. Now, what I will say is do what you want, get your own money, but people are so weird and goofy these days that you'll send your private parts to other men just to make money. That is wild, my boy. There's so many different ways to get money out in the world. Do your thing. That doesn't affect me, but that is goofy, guys. That is super weird. I don't know why people think that's cool. He was saying he was sending his private area, to people on OnlyFans. You got to assume it's going to be dudes and stuff. Like, my boy, that is an absolute no-go. I will never sell my soul. Do some goofy stuff like that for money. That weirdo, So that's kind of all the UFC stuff from the weekend. We had Richardson Hitchens versus George Kambosos go down for, I believe it was the WBA lightweight title or the IBF, one of the titles that Richardson Hitchens holds. Now, Kambosos is interesting. Besides beating Teofimo, any other big name he's came across, he's kind of got punished from. So I think Teofimo really, he didn't respect him, and he really thought it was going to be an easy night. He got caught early. I think it was first or second round he got dropped, and that changed everything. But that's been really his big moment. But from that, man, he's gotten some big fights from that. He's made probably almost $100 million. So it is what it is. But Richardson Hitchens did exactly what he said he was going to do. Punished him, controlled the fight, jabbed him up, stopped him with a body shot, literally as he said he would. So that was a great fight. Super entertaining. Immediately after, he calls out Devin Haney, Teofimo Lopez. I would love to see Devin Haney. Devin Haney said they could get at 147. Richardson Hitchens will stop Devin Haney easily. So we'll see if that happens. So recently there was a plane crash in India. Only one man survived. Pretty crazy incident. There was also some guy who's been a singer, and he said 25 years ago in Thailand, he was in a plane crash. He was the only one who survived, and he was sitting in that exact same seat. So that's just nuts. I don't know what seat it is, but that's where I'm sitting every time I go on a plane. Obviously, I'm not, making, fun or light of the situation. Prayers to all the people who lost someone in that. It's a terrible thing. I just thought that was interesting that two different instances, people lived just from being in that seat. I don't know if a lot of people saw, but recently Ashton Hall and IShowSpeed raced. Now, it did look like Ashton Hall was very upset that he lost. They were arguing. They were going back and forth. I just thought it's interesting how many people are talking about it and just trying to bring him down. Like, IShowSpeed is super fast. Ashton Hall is still a very, buff, successful. It's like people just love to hate. And it's just so weird how it's so viral. I think IShowSpeed ran it on him like 4 times in a row. It's pretty crazy. But I did see a video of Ashton Hall like going off on him, all butthurt about it. So it's like, hey, man, it happens. That kid's a beast. But I just thought it's always weird how people love to find negativity or things to hate on successful people, Just a weird thing. Random. So I've been listening to it obviously since it dropped, but Glockavelli by Key Glock is easily the album of the year. One of the albums in a long time that you can just press on shuffle and every song's going to at least hit. And there's some bangers that'll get you hyped, ready to go. Dope beats selected. Shout outs to PRE and Key Glock. I had seen him last year at Red Rock, one of the dopest live shows I ever been to. You guys got to check it out. Now, recently, I remember. I don't know if you guys remember, I was talking about Antonio Brown. He had that incident at that Aiden Ross event where he shot at some people. Well, he's now currently wanted for attempted murder in Florida. I guess, you can't necessarily just do it. I thought it was weird, and he was definitely in the wrong. You can't just shoot into a crowd. You could hurt tons of people. So shame on him. At one time, he was a role model. But, it might be CTE. It might be other things. He's definitely out of his mind. Now, rapper Silento, who is famous for Whip and Nene, was sentenced to 30 years for murdering his cousin. Guys, I don't know what's wrong with people. If you get successful and you can live a great life, That's the last thing you should be doing. Guys, that is not cool to just take people's life, especially your cousin. I don't know what is going on with people these days, but yeah, I'm sure when he's doing that 30 years, he's going to regret it, and you just ruined your life. So that's definitely not things kids should think is cool or try and do. So you're not the only person on earth, guys. It's okay to disagree. It's okay to have different views. People have to be different. People have to have certain ways they want to go about life. Everybody has a position. Everybody has things they like to do. And if we were all the same, the earth wouldn't be what it is. It would be a whack place. So whether you agree or disagree with someone, guys, it's okay to have different opinions and different views. And you can try and get someone to see it from your side. And if they still don't change, it's okay. We can all still be friends. Especially when it comes to politics, people ride so hard one way or the other for people that don't even care about you, someone you don't even know. It's okay, guys. It's all right to have different views. That's what makes the world unique. Pretty good episode, guys. Went over a lot of stuff. Great fights from the weekend. Like I said, that Kamaru versus Buckley, we'll have to see how the year ends, but that's definitely one of the top cards of the year, and it was free, so that was amazing. Of course, before we get out of here, we're going to drop the message of the week. Like Nipsey said, this game is going to test you. Never fold. Stay 10 toes down. It's on you. It's not on you. It's in you. And what's in you, they can't take away. So keep doing you. Keep being you. Stay true to your vision. Don't go off course. You're going to take L's. That's what gets you to the wins. You're going to go through some stuff, and it's okay. Life keeps rocking. Tough people last. Tough times don't. That's all I got for you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Episode 16 of the Daily Dose Podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. We'll see you next week.